Hello, Adam.
I'm sorry, I had connection problems. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Are you also from the intermediate class, or are you just trying out this class for one class, or?
Um, I tried the intermediate last week and then I switched to this class.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, welcome.
A much nicer group.
I was just a bit lost on the openings and stuff.
Right. Right.
I thought the instructor emailed you. I hope he did.
Adam, I think so. But yeah, maybe, probably. I'll check my emails. Okay, so welcome. So, this is the Premier Chess Adult Beginner, Spring 2021, and this is week 2, and we're going to do another lecture on forks. Those of you who have been with me for the winter 2021 classes, I did a lecture on forks, so we're going to continue that. I believe we focused on knight forks because, oh, by the way, before we get into forks, what is a fork, by the way? Anybody can define what a fork is?
Putting two pieces in jeopardy.
2 or more pieces, right? So, which pieces can deliver forks?
I think all of them can.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them. Very good. Yeah, very good. All of them. Knight, bishop, rook, queen, pawn, and sometimes even king. You'd be surprised. King, especially in the end game, can be a pretty formidable attacking piece. Although most people are familiar with knight forks because they're pretty common because the knight is so unique in the way it moves. So a knight fork is much more common. So here we're going to focus on queen forks in this study. And then I have a few positions from real games so we can look at. So in this position, white to move. What do you guys? So there's a bunch of little puzzles here. So we're going to go through these as fast as we can. So what do you think? White, sorry, not white to move, black to move. Black to move. What's the best move here?
Queen A5.
Yeah, Queen A5, very good. So this knight, so when we look at a puzzle, what's the first thing that we always look for first?
Checks.
Checks, yeah. I probably repeat that in like every class, right? So checks is the most forceful. And then what's the second most forceful move in chess?
Back.
No. Captures. Captures is most forceful. Second most forceful. Third most forceful is a attack or a threat. A threat to do something, right? So we always consider checks first because our opponent must respond to the check. This is actually the only check. Actually, no. There's bishop b4, but that does nothing but attack the king only. So Queen A5 is very nice, and that is a double attack. And the other thing that you should notice every time you look at any puzzle is you should always look for unprotected pieces, right? This knight is unprotected, is out there by itself. And so very likely when you see an unprotected piece, that will have something to do with the solution. All right, so there's really nothing that doesn't really matter what he does. He can block with the bishop and he loses the knight. So yeah, very simple example of a queen fork there. Okay, so now here is white to move. So what's the best move for white here? What do you think?
Queen E4.
Queen E4. And what is that threatening?
Well, checkmate and the bishop on H4.
Very good. Again, always look for unprotected pieces. This bishop and the queen's also unprotected, but in this case, this bishop is out here all alone by itself. And so combine attack on the bishop with the threat of mate on H7 is a very nice way of taking advantage of that situation, right? So Queen E4, beautiful. And he must block, either he blocks with F5 or he blocks with G6. And then the bishop is lost, right? Very good. All right. So if I go too fast or if you have any questions, just stop me. All right. So let's see here. This one. What do you think about this one?
Was move.
This one is all right. White to move, I guess. White to move. Okay. Okay, what do you think? White to move? Best move for white here. Okay, interesting.
Queen to E7.
Okay, so Queen E7. Let's see. Yeah, the queen can just take. Rook takes, and it's kind of a plain Jane equal position there. Anybody else? We need something a little bit stronger. Yeah, this one's a little tricky. You guys want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the hint is black has a back rank weakness. Right? So these pawns don't allow the king to escape the back rank. So white can take advantage of the back rank weakness. What can he do?
Queen to E8.
Queen to E8. No. Rook just takes the queen, and you just lost a queen for nothing. What else?
You could do rook to F8, but I don't know where you go from there.
Okay, rook F8, queen takes back, and then where's the follow-up? No real follow-up there.
Well, is the hint in what you're talking about the unprotected piece, the queen?
Okay, so the queen is unprotected. Very good. Yeah, you always look for unprotected pieces. So that's another hint. This queen will play a role in the solution.
So
black
rook, rook to F5.
Wait,
Oh.
I heard queen
Oh,
E, queen E5. Who said that? Monty?
I was starting to, but I think Greg beat me to it.
You're starting to think what?
I was starting to, but I think Greg beat me to
Queen,
it.
queen to C4.
Okay, so let's look at all right. So queen C4 first of all. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that kind of challenges the queen, but not as strongly.
Yeah, but
maybe
if
the queen can come down here and drop back and protect
Yeah,
the
but
back
then
rank.
queen to G7. Isn't that mate?
Wait, but you said queen C4, right?
Yes, but then the queen moves.
Queen drops back here, and there's no mate. There's no. Where's the mate?
Oh, I'm looking at because I'm looking at the wrong line. I got all excited.
But if you do,
Yeah. So Monty said queen E5. This is the powerful move right here. Everybody see why this is a powerful move? Before I
because
move
if
it?
the queen takes, then the rook can mate.
Right. So the queen cannot take the queen. The white queen is immune to capture due to the weakness on the back rank. And then if the queen does not take the queen, so that'll make the move. So now the queen does not take the queen. Let's say the queen drops all the way down here. Now what can white do?
Queen takes G7.
Yeah, so it was a double threat, right? It was a fork. So this is the other thing with a fork. You sometimes you're not just forking pieces. Sometimes you can be forking important squares, right? So this is forking the queen that's unprotected on C5, as well as the G7 square, which combined with the rook leads to checkmate, right? So it's a mate threat, forking a mate threat, and an unprotected queen. So very powerful. And utilizing the fact that black has a very weak back rank, and so that's why the queen is immune, right? It's a very nice combination of that. Good job. Okay, next. All right, what do you think? White to move here. What do you think?
Is it queen e5?
Queen e5, yeah. So this puzzle is very similar to the last puzzle in the sense that black still has a very weak back rank, right? And so for that reason, this queen cannot leave the protection of d8, e8, and f8, right? And so if black captures the queen, then the other rook comes down to d8, delivers a nice checkmate along the back rank, right? And so yeah, queen e5. You can say that the queen in e7 is overworked, right? It's doing too many things. So queen e5 challenges the overworked piece by attacking the unprotected queen and the unprotected rook. So before I move the piece, let's see if you can visualize. So queen e5. So let's say black, of course, doesn't take. Let's say he goes queen. Let's see. Okay, let's say he goes queen e5 and then queen f8. So now, what's the best move for white before I move the piece? What do you think?
Queen f4.
Yeah, capture the rook, right? Capture the rook. The queen still cannot leave the back rank, right? Due to the mating threat. So this rook appears to be protected when in fact it is not, right? Very important distinction there. So queen e5, queen back, and still the queen is immune. The white queen's immune to capture, right? Very good, very good. Okay. All right. So here, what do you think? Black to move? What is the best move for black here?
Well, isn't there a knight? There's a knight fork where he trades a rook for a knight.
Oh, you're talking about this? Oh no, it's black to move.
Oh,
Black to move, yeah.
Is it rook g2?
Rook g2. All right. So why rook g2? Before I move the piece, why rook g2?
I just kind of said that because the queen can't take, and it's also threatening the queen.
Yeah. So that kind of
And what-
it does. Yeah, it does fork. It forks the queen as well as a mating threat here. All right. So that is, I mean, it ends up being a trade of queens. I guess that's the reason that the answer would be that is, even though two rooks usually is a little superior to a queen, but in this case, once you get rid of the queen, then it's going to be a queen versus a knight and a rook, and that's usually losing. So that's probably why you want to do this. Okay. Rook takes and okay. So then here should be easier win for black given the queen, right? Okay. All right. So
In this particular case, you're saying the queen is stronger than the black, than the rook and the knight with all the pawns?
yeah, so usually, yeah, a knight and a rook is considered slightly weaker than a queen. If it's two minor pieces, if it's a knight, let's say a rook and two knights, or a knight and a bishop, not so much. That those tend to overpower the queen. But if it's just one minor piece, typically the queen ends up to be a little bit stronger. So yeah. Okay. Okay, so this position is white to move. So what do you think? Any ideas?
Queen C5.
Queen C5. So why Queen C5? What's the reason behind that?
I mean, that's threatening the bishop, but then the queen can take, and then you can take the queen with your knight. So I guess you're winning in that situation.
So it's threatening the bishop, right? It's threatening with the knight and the rook and the queen, sorry. So, but what else is it threatening? Queen C5.
8.
Yeah, mate right here. Mate on F8, right? So again, another double threat, again illustrating that it's not always that we're forking pieces. Sometimes we're forking a threat, right? So here, mate threat and the win of a piece is decisive here. Very good. And there's really nothing that that black can do. Black can deliver this check here, take and or check. King comes up. So now that'd actually be worse because now white is threatening three things: the rook, the bishop, and the mate. so it's like you dig yourself deeper in a hole. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So yeah. Good job. Okay. Next. White to move. What's the best move here?
Queen E4.
Yes, Queen E4. So why Queen E4?
Because you threaten the rook and the mate.
Very
on
good. Very good.
H7.
Remember, always, every time you see an unprotected piece on the board, even in your games, when you see an unprotected piece, your opponent has an unprotected piece, your red flag should come up in your brain saying, there might be some tactic I can do against that unprotected piece. And the rook over here, especially after B6, opens up the diagonal to access it, right? And this diagonal happens to share with the bishop on D3, targeting H7. So queen E4, beautiful fork, double attack the rook and the mate on H7. All right, so very nice, very nice. Is there any questions so far? So it's good, not too fast. All right, cool. Okay, So, all right. So what do you think here? This is white to move. Best move for white.
Queen A4.
Okay, so if we go Queen A4, now the rook
Hmm,
takes here, and maybe we take his rook, and it's kind of just an even trade.
Yeah.
So this is a stronger move than rook A4 or Queen A4. Sorry.
Is it rook b8?
Well, both rooks can go to B8. So which rook are you referring to?
The one on the bottom.
Okay, so you would say rook 1, or you could say rook B to B8, right? Or rook 1 to B8. So that doesn't work either. You just lose your rook. All right. So what else? Any other ideas?
Oh. Queen to C6.
Queen to C6. No. What? Why is that no good?
That's
Anybody?
the same as mine.
Why is that
Oh,
no
it's-
good?
Well, the rook will take him.
Okay, so number
Oh, wait,
one,
never mind. It's,
yeah. Number one, we lose the
I
rook.
had
No,
something else in mind.
number two, you lose your queen here.
Yeah.
No good. Yeah. Anybody else? What do you think?
All right, that was terrible.
Queen A4.
I believe somebody said that, Eugene, right? Queen A4. We just lose our rook here. Oh, actually, no, it'd be a rook.
Yeah.
It would be a rook trade, right? Yeah. So we need a
Yeah.
stronger move than that. Do you guys want me to give you a hint?
Yes.
Wait. Can I just say one more?
Sure. Go ahead.
Maybe this was already said. Queen. Maybe no. No, forget it.
Okay. So this puzzle is very similar to some of the previous ones. As you can see, the king has no escape square. So what does that mean? Back rank weakness, right? So this is another example of exploiting the back rank weakness. So how can we do that?
Why do I always feel so stupid when I do these things?
Well, we all start somewhere, you know.
Did someone already say queen to B7?
No, nobody said queen b7. That just loses a rook here. Yeah. So this is a two move combination. So should I give you guys the first move? What do you think?
Queen C8.
No, you just lose your queen. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. What do you think? Should I give you the first move?
Yes.
I think
Rook
the first.
E8.
Yeah, that's the first move. First move is fairly obvious. Yeah, first move fairly obvious. So what that does is it removes one defender of the 8th rank. So now we only have the queen defending the 8th rank, right? Rook takes e8, queen takes. Now, what is the second move of the combination? This is the real punch.
Queen to A4.
Queen
nope.
A4. Yes, queen A4.
Right.
Why does it looks like a
Hmm.
strange move, right? Why would you put your queen purposefully in jeopardy when it's not protected? But again, never forget the back rank weakness right here, right?
Right.
This black queen cannot leave the 8th rank, right? Under any circumstances. So queen A4 is a beautiful move, challenging the unprotected queen on E8, which can't leave the 8th rank, and also attacking the rook on C2. So this queen cannot, of course, cannot take the queen. Rook B8 will lead to mate, so he must retreat, and then we win a rook very nicely, right? Do you guys feel like sometimes that after I show you the solution, you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Why didn't I think of that?
That's so obvious, right? So, yeah, sometimes.
Actually, I asked myself, why didn't I take up checkers?
No, I think chess is a much more interesting game than checkers. But yeah, I think about that a lot. I think what a lot of students tend to do is overcomplicate things, right? You know, you look at a position and you just you're thinking about all these complex variations when you should really just focus on specific principles and what the position calls for, rather than all these intricate variations. And so when you look at let's go back to this position for a moment. So when you look at this position, right? So this pawn, I mean, you should just be alerted that black has a back rank weakness, right? All these squares are blocked off from the king, and we have 3 heavy pieces that can potentially invade on the back rank, and black only has 2. So logically, maybe we should remove one of them, right? That just makes sense now that we think about it, right? Just remove. Now he only has 1 piece protecting the back rank, right? And yeah, so that's some things to keep in mind. Yeah, so that that's I think that's one lesson we can draw from this is don't overcomplicate the situation. I tell people chess is complex enough. Don't need to make it more
Even
complicated.
add to it.
Don't need to add to it, right? Exactly. All right, so let's see this one. What do you think about this one?
Whose move is it?
Oh, this is yeah, White's move. White's move.
Rook to H3. Or I mean queen to H3, I'm sorry.
Oh, Queen H3. Queen H3.
Oh no, I was thinking then you could go queen A. Never mind.
Well, hold on. Queen
Ugh.
H3, very interesting move. Now, what is Queen H3 threatening?
Well, I thought mate on H7, but the king could just take the rook.
Okay, so here's another interesting lesson that I think we can draw from that I think I've mentioned to those of you who've taken my class previously, is that one of the differences between a master and a beginner is that the master very seldom will discount a move on face value just because it looks bad or horrible, or they will consider pretty much every move, and on face value Queen H3 looks like a horrible move, right? Why would you do that? The king can just take the rook. But then we consider, okay, what can happen? What happens if the king does take the rook? Now what can we do? See, there's a big difference, right? When you discount a move on face value without looking deeper, you might miss, a really brilliant move, right? So Queen H3 is the correct answer.
So then you check the king on H7. He has to go to
The 8th rank.
F or G8. Then you win the queen.
Exactly. This queen is unprotected, right? So Queen H3, I guess you could say Queen H1 does the same thing, but Queen H3 is more powerful. Why? Why is Queen H3 more powerful?
You threaten the rook.
Exactly. So that's why this is congruent with the theme of forks. We're threatening the unprotected rook on e6 at the same time we're threatening mate on h7, right? So queen h3, very, very powerful. Appears that we lose a rook when in fact we will win the queen that's unprotected there. So yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
So yeah, sometimes you have to train yourself to look a little bit deeper, even with the moves that appear to be on face value really bad moves, right? So that's a good lesson in that. Anybody any questions with that? Everybody see that? That's a pretty good one. I like that one. All right. All right. So you know what? We could do a few more, but maybe now we'll let's go to. I have two positions from real games, and we'll spend some time with these. So this is a game that was played in 1868 between Potter and Matthews. I assume not Harry Potter. And so this is going to be this is a very old game. So was 100 and I don't know 40, 50 years old, something like that. So yeah, quite old. So this is a miniature. This is a 13 move game. And let's see how it goes. So e4, e5, very good moves. You know, occupying center square, controlling center square. Same thing with e5, occupying center square, controlling another center square. Good. Okay, d4, immediately challenging black's control over the center. And by the way, at this time, 1868, gambits and sacrifices were very common. You know, they wanted a quick and brilliant resolution to the game. Long drawn out games were not not popular at that time. So yeah, there's probably going to be another gambit, and there it is. So d4 sacrifices the pawn on d4. He could have retaken with the queen, but he chose to sacrifice instead. This is called the. Anybody know what this type of gambit is called?
Is it Danish?
Danish gambit, yeah, Danish gambit. And sometimes the Danish gambit goes all the way to b2. So let's see how this went. So he chose not. Black chose not to capture on c3. And by the way, if he did capture on c3, what do you think? What do you think the best move for white would be?
Knight to c3 or knight takes c3.
Yeah, so this is a very natural developing move at the same time as recapturing. And even though white's down a pawn, look at these beautiful bishops, open lines, right? This queen is ready to start attacking, maybe along the a2 to g8 diagonal, and put pressure on f7. And look at and compare all this activity to black's activity. All he has is, I mean, the queen is open, the bishop's open, but that's about it. So that's pretty nice compensation for the piece. And I'll say personally, if I was black and somebody played c3 in this position, I would definitely not capture there. I don't like playing into gambits. It's just me personally. I know other players are like, I always accept gambits and I try to prove them wrong, but me, I don't like to. So I would do something like d3. And now c3 appears a little bit awkward, right? The knight wants to go to knight c3, but it's blocked by the pawn. So white, if you still wants to go to c3, you would have to waste an extra move pushing to c4, right? And so now material is equal again, and the game will pretty much continue. Much more on equality. And the nice thing about black's position is that the white knight wants to go to c3, but is currently prevented. So yeah, that's how I would do. Okay, so c3, c5, knight f3. Okay, all right, bishop c4. See, I really would love to do this. See, that just, to me, that's just so natural. But I guess they really wanted to go for development. All right, so bishop c4, knight c6, castle. So now, so black has a very nice control of the center with the pawns, although white is definitely much more accelerated in the development. King is safe. The two minor pieces are developed. He's already putting pressure on f7, and the king is stuck in the center. So let's see how this goes. So d3, okay, trying to clog up white's situation. Rook e1, trying to activate the rook, open up the e file. Okay, bishop g4. Okay, e5. Interesting move. He's trying to really trying to open up this e file and attack the king while he's still in the center. See, this is the thing. When you gambit a pawn in the opening, you really have to prove yourself. You have to say you have to prove that it was worth it, you know? Because if you don't, if you're not fiercely attacking when you gambit a pawn, and then you allow your opponent develop, you know, and then get his king to safety, then he's just up a pawn and he should be winning, right? So really the advantage is your attack, your initiative, right? So you got to go all out and attack the king before he's able to escape, right? So e5 is very aggressive and trying to open up the e file. Okay, knight takes e4. So okay, he's trying to keep it closed. But what do you think is a good move here? What do you think is a good? What do you think White did here?
Knight to G5.
Okay, knight g5. So remember, you're sacrificing your queen. So you got to
Oh,
make sure it's worth
Forget
it.
that.
Oh, okay. What else? Anybody else have an idea here?
Bishop b5.
Bishop g5.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, if you just wanted to go for a queen trade. So remember, it's it's black that's winning with material because he's up a pawn currently, right? So, and also he's defending. So when a person is defending, what's their goal? Is their goal to keep more pieces on the board or trade more pieces off the board when they're defending?
Keep more pieces on the board.
No. It's the opposite, right? When you're defending, you want to trade as many pieces as possible because that will minimize your opponent's ability to attack, right? And conversely, if you are attacking, you don't want to trade pieces, right? Because that means less pieces to attack with, right? So bishop g5 would probably just allow him to trade queens, and then definitely black is winning, definitely, right? So yeah. So what else? What else do you think?
What about bishop b5?
Okay, so bishop b5 check. Let's see. Yeah, maybe best move is just dropping back here, and then maybe giving up this. Maybe something like that. I mean that does yeah, it just leads to equality actually. Yeah, equality. So okay, anything else? What else?
Queen a5 or queen a4.
Queen a4 check. Again, maybe bishop back.
Oh,
Anybody else? What do you think? Good move here.
oh, crazy move like the bishop f7.
Okay, bishop f7, king takes, and now what?
Well, then the knight g5. Or
Okay, that's
no.
actually an interesting idea. So you just you sacrifice your bishop temporarily, but you're going to win it back. Knight takes e5, d takes. Now you can take the bishop. So so let's see. So black is up a pawn, but the king is pretty vulnerable there. Okay, it's a possibility. But that's not what he chose. So you kind of, yeah, so you just kind of a little attack there. Anything else? Anybody else have an idea?
Queen to b3.
Queen b3. Okay, threatening f7 and b7. Maybe he can just come queen c7. Now he's defending both pretty nicely. So okay, so I'll tell you what he did. So here, White went for another queen sacrifice. Remember, this is a pin. What kind of pin would this be?
Relative.
Relative pin, right? It's most of the time not a good idea to move the piece that's being pinned because you're going to lose a much more valuable piece. In this case, a queen. But here is a rare exception. Knight takes e5. He exposes his own queen to being captured. But he is looking for more prized treasure, which is the king, right? So bishop takes d1. And now how do we continue the attack? What do you think?
Knight to f7.
Okay, so knight f7 check. All right. I mean, that is possible, But again, you're not looking to win back. Actually, you know what? No, queen here doesn't work. Actually, no, it does. Yeah, it's fine. So queen e7. Now he's threatening mate here. So now you're kind of forced to take here. Maybe you take back here. Something like that. This knight's kind of trapped if he tries to escape. Maybe you come up here, d5. Now you're cutting off connection with the knight. So now you're attacking the bishop and the knight. So one of those pieces will drop. And then after that, it's going to be equality, right? So it doesn't really end up to be anything really with that line. So
Knight C6.
Knight c6. Well, again, we sacrificed our queen, not so much so we can get this queen back, but we sacrificed our queen to attack the king, right? So to try to get a checkmate, right? So we can definitely, if White wanted to get his queen back, he can definitely do that and get his queen back. But White wanted to do something a little better. What do you think?
Bishop F7.
Bishop f7.
No.
Okay. Where's the follow-up? Where's the follow-up? Right. So if you try to attack the king, the knight can just block, stuff like that. So yeah, no real follow-up there. Okay, what else?
Bishop to b5.
Yeah, bishop b5 is the move that he played. Pretty powerful move. So forces king e7. Okay, so now what did he play? What White to move?
Knight to, what is it? G6.
Okay, so knight g6, king f6, and now what? You want to take the rook? I mean, again, we're already down to queen, so the goal really is not for material. The goal should be for mate, right? So even if we take the rook, black's gonna be winning by material. He's got an extra queen, right? So we want something a little stronger. What do you think?
Knight to c6.
Knight c6. So again, you are going to win the queen, but I think that we should try for something a little stronger. Actually, no, maybe probably better even this way. Yeah. And now takes, and then maybe he takes here, and okay, so White would be up a piece. Okay, so that would be winning. But here he did a slightly stronger move. So I'll give you a hint. So when we're doing a king hunt, right? I think we did with my students what a king hunt is, where you're just attacking the king outright and hunting him down. So you want to bring in as many pieces into the attack as possible, right?
So bishop to g5.
Right, bishop g5 brings another piece into the attack very nicely, right? Now we're cutting off. So we already cut off the e8 square, the d7 square, and now we're cutting off the f6 square, right? And the knight also protects f7, right? So, so if you went knight f6, what would be the best move for White here? What do you think?
Knight G6.
Knight g6. Yeah, knight g6, and what's that?
I think it's mate.
Yeah, that is not only mate, that is a discovered
Wow.
double checkmate. One of my favorite mates, right? Discovered double checkmate. Very nice. So knight check and the rook check, and the bishop blocks off the escape. So beautiful. So knight f6 is not possible. So he does f6. Now what's the best move for White here?
How about knight to c6?
So, okay, so knight c6, if you want to win the queen, that's fine. But again, I think we're looking for more delicious treasure here.
Knight-
So
Knight to D7.
knight d7. The king kind of finds refuge here on f7. Remember, our bishop is being attacked. Yeah, there's no more. Yeah, now the attack kind of fizzles out because now he can still escape to g6 as well. Okay, so what else? So yeah, the problem with knight c6 is that it blocks the bishop. The bishop no longer controls d7, so now the king can escape this way towards the queen side, right? So we don't want to let the king escape. So what's a better move than that?
Knight G4.
Okay, so knight g4 check. King escapes here. And now he's ready to escape up here. Yeah, not much follow-up there. Okay, anybody else? I think this is a case of you guys are like saying all the moves except the right move. What do you think? So what you guys are doing, which is good, you're considering all the checks, right? So what do we consider? We considered knight d7 check, knight c6 check, knight g4 check, right? So yeah, keep going along those lines. You always consider the checks first, right? So look at all the possible checks.
Knight C4.
So knight c4, again, the king can just escape to f7 and then here, and then he's pretty much fine. So what else? So we did these just to make it easy for you guys. What else? So there's actually a forced mate in 2 moves in this position with white to move.
We said knight to D7, right?
Yep, knight d7 we said, knight d7, knight c6, knight c4, knight g4.
We seem to have covered them all.
No, there's more. There's more knight moves. Where else?
Knight F7.
Okay, so knight f7. Okay, you're sacrificing your knight. The king can just take. And now, again, he can escape to g6. So, no. So, yeah, this is what we said so far. Okay, what else? You guys are getting warmer. It's getting warmer. What do you think?
Someone said knight to g4, right?
Yep. We said knight g4, knight f7, knight d7, knight c6, knight c4. That's what we said.
You say knight d7?
Yep. We said knight d7. Yep. What else?
Knight to F3.
Okay,
That's what I
knight
was gonna say.
f3. Again, king can just escape to f7, and then of course to to g6 as well. Okay, so that's out. This is the
Okay.
process of elimination. Okay, this is what you got to do in your mind. So we have 2 left.
Well, the only thing I can think of is bishop to F6. That'll walk.
Okay, so you can take the pawn. Doesn't really do much. The knight just takes.
I know, but it's another check.
It's another check. No, that's true. That's true. Okay, what else? We have more knight checks.
Oh, God.
What else?
So knight C4.
No, we said c4. c4, c6, d7, f7, g4, f3. What else?
Knight G6.
Knight g6. Excellent. Now, if I say that the most important move, or the strongest move is a check, right? That you should consider first. Even before that, if you see a discovered double check, you should absolutely consider that first. That is even more powerful than just a regular check. So why is that even more powerful than a regular check? Anybody know? Can you explain why?
Capturing the attacker is not an option.
Exactly. Capturing the attacker or blocking is not an option, right? So because you're in check, you're in check by two pieces simultaneously, the king must move, must run, right? So that's why if I tell you to look for checks first, you should always look for discovered double checks even before that. Always consider those first. So there's two discovered double checks, knight c6 and knight g6. Problem with knight c6 is you're blocking the bishop, and so d7 is not covered. So we don't want that. So knight g6 is the powerful move, right? Now king f7. And now what is the best move here?
Not saying the pieces move.
Oh, sorry. My fault. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So yeah. So knight g6, check. King f7. So now what is the best move for white here? What do you think?
Knight to
Oh, knight,
H8.
knight.
Knight h8. And what's that?
Just check.
No. Not just
Mate.
check. This is mate. And it's pretty amazing that in this game, this knight goes to h8 and delivers a checkmate. I thought that's pretty cool. Isn't that cool? Captures the piece on h8, delivers checkmate simultaneously. The knight is attacking the king on f7 and preventing his escape onto g6, right? And controls the entire e file very nicely. So yeah, all this in combination with the beautiful queen sacrifice results in a very nice checkmate from the corner. So this is pretty rare for a knight to checkmate on h8. that's a rarity. So I thought that was pretty cool. So is there any questions about this game or forks, or what did you think about this lesson? Any comments? Say again.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. Anything is unclear, or want me to explain again, or what do you think?
No.
It was another good lesson.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean forks. Today we focus mostly on queen forks. So queen forks, in knight forks, once you get the hang of how knight moves, you can probably, it's a little bit easier to see knight forks on the board. You know that the knight moves like that. But if with queen forks, though, you actually have to be a little bit more broad with your mind. You have to stretch your mind out a little bit more, because queen has such a large range of moves, great scope. The queen moves on the diagonals and the files, right? So you have to really be creative when you're looking for queen forks, but they are definitely there, and a big important thing about when you're considering about forks is you always think about unprotected pieces, right? If you see your opponent has an unprotected piece on the board, think to yourself, how can I do something that involves that piece, that attacks that piece in some way, and perhaps combine that with another attack. But yeah. So yeah, so that's forks. Hopefully you can employ more forks in your games. And yeah, keep your mind open for that kind of thing, and also always keep your mind open for forcing moves. Like if you see a move where it's a check, that's kind of a forcing move. So because you want it's easier to think when you have a forcing move. You force your opponent to do something. Let's say it's a simple mate threat. Let's say your bishop's here, queen's here, and you're threatening mate on h7. right? So if you can get your opponent to move one of his pieces, maybe a knight onto b5 and is unprotected, like then you can think then queen d3 would be a good move because you'd be forking the mate threat as well as the unprotected knight, right? So that's something that you can think about doing, trying to set up a fork, right? Trying to bring about a fork in your games. Yeah. All right. Any other comments, questions, observations?
Do you know what we're gonna do next week?
I have no idea. I think about it. I think about it on the fly. And any recommendations? Do you guys want to learn something specific next week? I mean, I can.
No, I was just curious.
I also do take requests if you want to do that. No, no. Whatever I decide. It's fine
Whatever
with
you decide.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I like going over these basic tactics. It's very important to feel comfortable with these, because if you have the basics down, then the more complicated stuff, I think, it's also important, but sometimes just knowledge of basic tactics can bring you pretty far in your chess game. And but I think there's a famous quote, I think by Bobby Fischer. Somebody said that tactics arise spontaneously out of a superior position, right? So the goal should not necessarily be that you look for tactics. The goal should be, improve your position, get your pieces active, get your king to safety. And once you improve your position, slowly and surely, the tactics just spontaneously arise from that, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. All right. So yeah, great seeing you guys today. So I will see you guys next week with another interesting lecture, which I have no idea what is. Hope you guys all have a wonderful week.
Well, thank you, and you too.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night,
Have a good
everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.